Okay. That should be long enough now for the rest of this paint to come off reasonably nicely. A little bit of resistance still over here. And can I just say, I am thrilled with the wood here. I'm possibly said it before, but I'm confident that this was a translucent finish guitar originally, because the colour matching on the mahogany is really good. I'll just wipe down the guitar to clean up. Now if I did this without first paint stripping, it would just turn into a big gooey mess, you know, you'd just have paint paste all over. But now that we've done that, we can get it really clean, see what we're dealing with. Well, the good news is it was refinished in nitro, so it's coming off beautifully. Being really mindful not to make a dip there. Serial number nice and visible still, which is good. I was a bit worried about that. You can just about see it there, but that's pretty good, right? Okay, so now that we've done the back nice and successfully, let's take our attention to the front and we'll see what horrors lie beneath. I might pull those studs before I do that. See, those are just coming out. I did not expect that, but that's good. Cool, so those are out. Can I get those studs out? I think I've got the stud posts, though I could be wrong. The guitar came with a bag of bits, and unfortunately the stud posts are not amongst them. Let's not worry about that for now. Again, just like with the back, this front is amazingly clean. Like, I'm thrilled with this. There are some dings and things, but nothing major. So we've got that one there. And it wouldn't surprise me if that actually came out. But what we'll do first is sand it back and then see what we're dealing with. Alright, so the next thing that we'll do before we go sanding anything is we'll mix up some glue and try and fill these little dings here. So let me just scrape whatever's in there away, and that will give us fresh wood to bond to. We'll also stop it from going too dark. That's what I'm going to do, is mix up some of the really thick super glue gel. So we'll stick some of that in there, and it's kind of like the thickness of a cold epoxy. And we'll mix in some rosewood dust, although not crazy amounts because we don't want it to go too dark. And you have to work quickly because the dust actually sets the glue off. A fresh safety razor, and just gently scrape. So we'll clean that fretboard up a little bit more eventually, but that's looking really good. So you can see here, you can actually just about sort of make that out. And there's two things. First of all, when the lacquer's on there, the wood's going to look like that more. So I don't think you'll see that. And secondly, this is a left-handed guitar, and so basically it'll be on the underside of the fretboard from player's perspective. I've been giving the frets some thought, and I think where I've landed is that I'm going to refret, and there's a few reasons for it. The first is there's some pretty deep, but not catastrophically deep, gouges in here, and you know, we're restoring this guitar and trying to make it essentially, you know, like new. So I think realistically what I'd like to do is get that out, and that's going to be really difficult with this fret in. And the second thing is just on the edges here, they're sort of really slopey, so it's just going to make for a horrible playing experience. It's like a really gradual ramp, rather than having a nice bevel at the end. I just don't know what I can do with that. There's so much slope there that even if you crown it, it's going to be pretty miserable. Maybe we'll just give them a quick level and see what it feels like. So I have made the decision to do a refret on this one. We've still got some areas like here and here where, you know, it's so sloped, and up here it's so sloped that we're still not hitting the frets, you know, because it's been so badly fret dressed. And you know, we're pretty thin there. You know, you can see I've lost all of the crown on that one, so it's going to be huge amount of work to get a crown back on there, and it's just not going to feel as good as fresh frets. So, you know, we're going to the trouble of repainting the entire guitar. We'd sort of be mad not to refret it at this stage, I think. The steam that you're seeing is the glue, which is exactly what we want to see. I want to see it the whole way along. That's better. Okay, so that's all the frets nice and cleanly out. They came out really well once I worked out that Gibson used a pretty good glue to secure them in. That fingerboard is pretty flat there, and we'll see how we go levelling it off. I had this worry that I was favouring this side more because I'm removing less there, but actually the opposite is true, if anything, but I mean by fractions. I think for all intents and purposes you're good. Alright. So we've actually got a slight fall away at the end of the fretboard, and that's actually not a bad thing because SGs are notorious for folding themselves under tension. Cool. Wow, look at that. Now we've sanded down the fretboard, it's nice and flat, but what we do need to do is just give ourselves a little bit more depth with the fret slots because we've obviously lost some through the sanding process. So I'm just using this StewMac fret saw with the depth guide on it. So let's go ahead and start this process. What I might do though, just put a little bit of protection . Just like that should be good. It's just a bit awkward over the body, so I'm having to go really careful. So with these Japanese saws, the big differentiating factor is that they are pull rather than push. So that makes them really controllable. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, now we're past the horns. We're plain sailing, and full disclosure, I did nick them. I'm definitely taking less care than I would if we weren't refinishing this, but obviously I still didn't want to gouge loads. It's like I literally scratched it through the tape. As well as deepening the grooves, this actually gets out all of the old glue, you know, from the factory, so it helps a lot. Alright, so that's that done. Let's just give the slots a bit of a wipe. Let's get them really nice and clean. Alright, so as to make life easy for the next person that refrets this, I'm just going to use a little triangular file here to just chamfer the edges of the fret slot, just to stop it from tearing out when they pull the frets. A little bit tricky over here. Okay. That's good.